Thank you.
I mean, the things that he's doing is not trying to make America better. He's ruining our infrastructure, every department in our government. He's ruining, and he's right now destroying our economy. He's taken away all of our allies. We're a pariah in the world.
This is what community looks like.
And research has demonstrated that for hands off. Hands off. Our research. Our research. Hands off. Hands off. Our science. Our science.
Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. Peace and blessings, everybody. Just want to show y'all that clip right there, that brief clip of people coming out here, protesting April 5th. It was going down all over the country, man. People protesting anti-Trump protests. You know what I'm saying? And everybody has their right to get their protest on. You feel me? But why they protesting nonsense? You know what I'm saying? I wanted to come back with some content on some positive things. That was April 5th, which was yesterday on Saturday. And, they're saying that the Trump administration is getting away with, dismantling democracy. And I would beg to differ. I think that he's actually adding to democracy. I think that he's adding to a republic, actually, that is going to benefit, the country and its citizens. We're getting away from the Biden-Harris administration's policies with prioritizing illegal immigrants in other countries. We're building, we have to tear down this current economic structure and rebuild. So you see the stock market crashing. And that's never good, but it has to be a destroy and rebuild process. But on top of that, illegal immigration is down to 0%. Eggs and food is going down. The price of gas is going down. The stock market is up, but who does that really affect but the ultra rich people, the wealthy, ultra wealthy people? So, and while they out here doing all this protesting and stuff, I want to share a video with y'all, of the kind of things that, these people are crazy. In a lot of cases, these extreme leftists. And I want to show y'all a video right quick of this woman who was being interviewed. Now to your left, and shout out to the content creator Anton Daniels. To the left of the screen is a young liberal woman they talking about abortion right, and to the right is in the blue is the conservative lady that's interviewing her. And this lady just attacks this lady out of for no reason, for some type of disagreement of an issue that she seemed to personalize. So it's just strange, man. But this is what we're dealing with out here, man, when it comes to these people, man. So let's roll this little clip. Shout out to Anton Daniels.
Doesn't want to be with you.
I agree with you.
I'm not disagreeing with you either. I understand.
You don't get to kill the baby just because their dad didn't want them.
Can.
Should we kill the kids in foster care? And
why not?
Why?
She's so crazy. She's not even really listening. So we should kill, now, whether you pro-choice or against it, why would you say something like that? That just because you don't want to have children, because you laid down and made them. Now, regardless if you pro-abortion or not, foster children? Like, this lady just is unhinged. I'm gonna let it roll out there. I'm not gonna stop it. I'm gonna let the whole clip ride, even with Anton Daniels. But just watch how this goes completely left for no reason.
Why not? If that's the
Jesus, Lord have mercy. This just tell you that some women are listening to respond. They're not listening to understand. They don't want to have a conversation. They already got their mind made up. And these are the people that voted for Kamala Harris.
case,
We should kill the kids in foster.
Sorry about that.
Foster care that aren't wanted.
who's going to take care of them? I need to know the percentage of people who take children from foster care and abuse them and molest them, who make them like personal slaves.
You should just kill them.
Statistics before you come to me talking about pro-life.
You should kill the victims of molestation.
I think, what does this have to do with molestation?
You just mentioned people molesting children. We should kill the kids in foster care is what you said.
What I'm saying is in general, overall. If I don't want to have a baby, I should have the choice to.
Just don't have sex then. Just don't have sex.
That's not even logical.
It is.
Who are you, Nancy?
I sound dumb.
You
sound dumb as. Okay.
It does, because even as teens, people explore. And it's like, as funny as you want to be, people should still have the choice. See,
this is personal. She didn't did this before. I guarantee you, nobody gets this emotional over something that they're not participating in.
You went from saying that my outfit was really cute to saying I'm an effing idiot. That's so mean.
But I think that your view is very obstructed, and I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child.
Yeah, well, I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing.
Look, hey. That woman got a pure demon in her right there. Are you looking at that woman with that shearling on? That coat don't even fit. She couldn't button it up if she wanted to. That woman right there is in demon mode. Because a lot of women are not. Hold on, let me cover her up. Because a lot of women have no clue. They are not as situationally, feminine, right perspective.
Now he caught that right on time. You could see she about to go there. But these are the type of people that's out here protesting across the country. You know what I'm saying? These are the type of people that's focusing on situations like this and personalizing them and lashing out and tearing up Tesla and spray painting on stuff because they can't handle a difference of opinion. But like I said, I ain't gonna stop it no more. I'm gonna let them finish cooking.
Perspective. Shout out to all of my conservative ladies out here. This woman right now is in demon mode. There is no reasoning with her. There is no conversation that you can have with her. There is nothing that you're going to say that's changing her mind. She 100% wants smoke. She wants all the smoke. She ain't even listening to nothing that you're saying right now. Right now, she about to go full ham. 1,000%. I'm telling you. It's all in her. She won't smoke. When they can't articulate themselves, when they can't strengthen their argument, it's fisticuff time.
Children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
Wow.
What's wrong with you?
She says, suck my D? Yo, how come ain't nobody around trying to help?
Oh my God.
That's messed up, man.
What the f did you do? She attacked my wife.
Your wife is attacking.
She would have been on the floor. She would have been on the floor. She would have been on God, on everything I love. It wouldn't have been no dancing. It would have been all suplexing. All suplexing, 100%.
Why is it following me? Why would Why you feeling me?
Look at that shit. Look.
Look at these people.
Don't worry.
She just punched me in the face. We were just doing a street interview with my camera, and everything was fine for over 20 minutes or however long we were filming, and then she just punched me in the face. Oh my God.
Better stay away from these monsters, man. These people.
Wow, man. These are the type of people, and I'm gonna stop that right there. She just attacked that woman for a difference of opinion. Is asking us some questions, dog. These are the type of people that's out here that's protesting up and down the street all across America. Extreme leftist liberal. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just dialoguing, there was no reason for that lady to pop off. And she got that lady leaking, man. That lady didn't even see that coming. It just stole on that lady like that, man. Because she have a difference of opinion. But this is what these people protesting about, right? The right to an abortion, which I really don't have an opinion about. That's why Donald Trump said, hey, I'm not going to make no executive order on that. I'm going to kick it back down to the states. And each state can say if they want to have them. Why should that be a federal decision? A blanketed decision. Like if you in a certain state that doesn't have abortion and you want to get one, you can travel to another state and have one. If the state that, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's upon our personal opinion, is as long as it doesn't affect you, it's irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but with that being said, I want to share something with y'all on a positive note. We had to spend a little bit of time to show y'all the negative. You know what I'm saying? While they out there protesting nonsense. Let's talk about something positive, man. I got a video here to show something that I did not personally know. And let's see, man. I want to pick the right one. I don't want to get y'all wrong. Yeah. So this is a Trump official. And shout out to Laura Trump. She got a podcast on Fox News. That's Donald Trump's daughter-in-law. She's married to Donald Trump Jr. And she had a young lady on here that's one of Trump's advisors, a black lady, and Trump actually saved this woman's life. So I want to roll this clip, man, and let's talk about it. This is something positive for y'all, man, on this beautiful Sunday.
Welcome back to My View. It may have been a product of the crippled economy, the open border, the violent crime, or the dangerous decline in parents' rights. But one thing's for sure, minority voters came out for Donald Trump in 2024, unlike any other Republican before him. And this president does not take that lightly. He's tapped Lynn Patton to serve as the White House Director of Minority Outreach starting next month.
Lynn Patton, Minority Outreach, black woman. Shout out to Laura Trump, shout out to Lynn Patton, shout out to Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? So he won. This is very strategic too for Trump because it gains, like it says, man, a lot of minority vote. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like the word minority, but black and Latino voters are really in favor of this. So let's hear her story because Trump actually saved this lady's life.
Now, I've known Lynn for years, and it's clear she is passionate about this new opportunity to serve. But before she really hits the ground running, we sat down to talk about why she's the right person for this role and everything she hopes to accomplish for minority communities across the country. Lynn, thank you so much for joining us. You have been around our family well before we ever entered the world of politics. So from your perspective, I would love to hear from you about the Trump family that you knew prior to politics, the Trump family you now know in politics, and especially the man himself, President Trump.
It's been 17 years now. 17 years and counting that I've been either an advisor to your husband and his siblings or to your father-in-law. And it's obviously been the honor of a lifetime. I began working with your husband and running his charity for St. Jude. It starts off with, Lynn, do you think this tie looks good? To Lynn, do you think, this property is worth, investing in? To Lynn, do you think we should have another child?
Well, you have been such an important person in all of our lives. During the 2016 campaign, you made a video and you talked about a moment that was very impactful in your life. I wonder if you would share that today.
Like millions of Americans, I struggled with substance abuse and addiction. And like most addicts, you convince yourself that you don't have a problem. My weakness or crutch was cocaine. Thankfully, somebody at the Trump Organization recognized these patterns and told your husband, who promptly called me into his office one day and said that he knew what was happening and that I was like a sister to him and that they were going to get me the help that I needed to get through this. And then I believe.
Now, right quick, because why these people out here protesting about some nonsense? This interview is not getting as much steam as it should. Let's talk about something positive. They noticed that this lady was struggling with substance abuse, cocaine addiction. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. And instead of demonizing her or firing her, man, they helped this lady. They reached out and gave her and got her the help that she needed. You know what I'm saying? They seen her spiraling out of control. For her to be struggling with that addiction so much so that it was noticeable, they could have just fired her, let her go, and let her just crash out in society. But they gave her a lending hand and actually elevated her career. That's a beautiful story. Let's continue.
If you were on speakerphone and then you chimed in and said, we love you, Lynn, you've got this, and we're going to get the help that you need for yourself. Fast forward a couple of years later, of course, when your father-in-law is coming down the escalator and announces that he's running for president, to then be asked by him to join him in DC, of course, you serve at the pleasure of the president, was also the honor of a lifetime.
What do you think some of the biggest misconceptions about Donald Trump are?
The most paramount question that I get asked still pretty regularly is, how do you as a Black female work for a man who is a racist, is a misogynist?
Woo-hoo! I'm happy that she asked her this, man. Because if this man, after hearing her story, was all of these things, a racist and a misogynist, well, she's a perfect example. She's not only Black, but she's a woman. You know what I'm saying? And how could you work for such a racist misogynist while they out here protesting those very narratives? Here we are right here, where this woman is put in position to help other people that are in a similar position and meet the same demographic. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was very, this is a very great question. Let's see how she answered it,
Yes, and, it's never ceases to amaze me because these are people who have never met him. Loyalty and family is paramount to the Trump Organization, the Trump family. Donald Trump doesn't see black and white. I always say that he sees success and failure. And that's just the innate businessman in him.
The attack line from the left continues. I mean, it's with all Republicans, but specifically with Donald Trump, to call him a racist. Why is that their default?
I think it's the default with all their arguments, because I've been called a white supremacist, which is, pretty tough pill to swallow. But yeah, I think that.
Wait a minute, man. That's crazy. How the hell? Woo! Oh, snap. Oh, man. How the hell is this lady being called a white supremacist, man? You know, the extreme leftists will go so far as to call a black conservative, another black person, a white supremacist, man. That's crazy, man. But I'm not even going, because that's insane. Let's keep going.
That's just their default argument: Nazi, white supremacist, racist. When you cannot prove your point with facts, you default to insults. This election, more than ever, the media, Democrats, and even Republicans alike recognize that this type of rhetoric was not working anymore, that people were waking up, particularly these minority communities, and saying to themselves, look, America was better with Trump. They were richer with Trump. They were stronger with Trump. They were safer with Trump. And Black and brown families were spending $1,000 extra a month under the last administration, just like every other family. So why would they not want change? And that's exactly what they voted for in record numbers.
Exactly. Black, white, brown, yellow, red. Everybody felt the brunt of this past administration. That's why I say, man, a lot of time people be trying to race bait as a form of division. And when people are divided, because as I get older and become more conservative in my thinking, I tend to draw away from the racist talking points. Especially if it doesn't apply. And I think that as Americans first, in 2025, we would be better off if we adopt that mentality. You know what I'm saying? Because we see that everybody was affected. When them hurricanes hit in North Carolina, that was a predominantly white area. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no black people really affected by that. And just by the fact that they were a Trump area, FEMA was told not to assist them people. And they were white people, hillbillies in the hills of North Carolina. And they ain't even offered them no assistance. They treated them like straight niggas. So everybody felt the brunt of this past administration. Them wildfires in California, predominantly white area. And California is Democrat. And they ain't even FEMA didn't even help them people. So white, black, Democrat, Republican, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Everybody felt this. So people, regardless if they had common sense, if you want, what's the definition of insanity? To keep trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So people like, man, and then we already had Trump as a president before, and we comparing that to what we're going through now, man, it was a no-brainer. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's continue.
We have seen between 2016, 2020, and now 2024 elections with Donald Trump that his popularity among minority voters has increased. What do you attribute that to? And I think a lot of people wonder, well, will it hold for the midterm election?
You had record inflation. You had the most porous border in American history. You had rising violent crime. But one of the sleeper issues that really impacted a lot of those communities was the issue of men and women's sports and sort of the indoctrination that they were seeing in their schools. Hispanics, Blacks, really at the core, are very conservative in that regard. We've always seen support from sort of Cuban Americans, Venezuelan Americans, but to also see that drive forward the vote from non-traditional demographics like Black Americans and Mexican Americans was very, very powerful. Black and brown communities did not like seeing billions of dollars going overseas to the Ukraine when we should be investing that money here in the United States. Why are there homeless veterans on the street instead of in these hotels that they were able to put millions and millions of illegals in? Trump was speaking common sense to the core. These are things that benefit all Americans, not just.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy that Trump got her as one of his advisors. Because everybody saw this, man. Like, why we got illegal immigrants living in luxury hotels, but we got, American people, that fought in wars to protect this country, put their life on the line, that are homeless, that are sleeping under the same luxury hotels? Why are we prioritizing illegal immigrants that's sucking up all our resources while simultaneously sending our tax dollars overseas to fight in by proxy wars that we don't have nothing to do with? What is this current administration doing where we have borders wide open, people just coming over? And man, I remember driving down the street and seeing all these people sitting out front of police stations with tents, and then the next thing you know, they getting all type of food stamps, and it's just craziness. Right? So we seeing this in real time, and we know Donald Trump would never, ever do nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? And, I had to learn. I had TDS, which is Trump derangement syndrome, the first time. But I'm going to tell you something. When I look back at that time and what we went through in the past 4 years, I was tripping, man. And I'm man enough to admit that. Man. But let's continue here.
Just white Americans or minority Americans, but all Americans across the board.
So your parents are both Democrats. I know your parents very well. They're
Yes,
wonderful people.
they love you.
So how did Lynn Patton end up a Republican, and not just a Republican, but working for multiple presidential campaigns and now in multiple White Houses?
Without question, 9/11 is what changed me from a Democrat to a Republican.
Why don't you own apartment buildings? Seriously, why don't you own these big apartment buildings?
Like many Americans after that, it was all about unity and all about common sense safeguards. And, when you start saying that we're profiling, or that, this is racist, or that this is, not conducive to our values, I started to say, well, maybe these aren't my values anymore. I started to realize that the Republican Party better represents my patriotism and the fact that I wanted to put America first. We want to put Black Americans who were born here first, brown Americans who were born here first. We want to put white Americans who were born here first. And to answer your question, yes, they're Democrats. And, they struggle, I think, with the fact that I am a Republican. I think they've come to peace with, because they know all the great things that this president has done for me as a human being. And all the great things that you guys have done for me as a family, to give me this opportunity to say, Lynn, you're worth it, that you're worth saving, that you belong here. That you've earned this spot because of all of the effort that you've put in.
Well, you are incoming director of minority outreach for the White House. This is a role you'll start next month. What is that?
Wow. Beautiful story, man. Saved that woman's life, man. I'm going to stop that right there. If you want to see the full interview, you can head over to Laura Trump's platform. And shout out to Miss Patton And congratulations to her. But yeah, just how she just described that whole dynamic, with her family, not really, approving of her being a Republican, but they had to respect the fact that Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying, they saved her life. Wasn't no Democrat saved her life, it was a Republican, man. You know what I'm saying? It was Donald Trump. And Trump used to be a Democrat himself, at one point. So, I think the Democratic Party has just went so far left to the fact that while this beautiful story is going on, we got people out here protesting about nonsense, punching on, people that's interviewing them because they disagree. I mean, we just got a lot of insanity going on, man. But I just wanted to bring that story to y'all. But before I go, I got another story, just not breaking, but something that is a refresher, something we may have forgot about. And that is another another Black woman that Trump has saved their life, and that is Alice Marie Johnson. Remember her? Trump's, new pardon czar. Her situation was, she was unjustly sentenced in back in the 1990s to a 30-year sentence, I believe. And it was just excessive. So during Trump's first presidency, it was brought to his attention by Kim Kardashian that this was unjust. So shout out to Kim Kardashian and Kanye when they were together at the time. And Trump looked up her story and saw that this Black woman had been done wrong and unfairly sentenced. And not only did he pardon her, but he brought her on to become his pardon czar, gave her a position in his cabinet. So let's roll this clip. This was beautiful, man. Just to remind y'all, if y'all forgot.
Alice Johnson, where's Alice? Boy, are you incredible. I watched you on last night on television. You were so good. Alice was in prison for doing something that today probably wouldn't even be prosecuted. She spent 22 years in prison, 22 years. She had another 22 years left. Can you believe it? And I pardoned her, and it was one of the best pardons. One of the best pardons. You know what she was?
Oh, so she did 22 years, my bad, and had another 22 left. And it was just like something like she was on a phone call talking about a drug transaction or something silly like that. So she had over 40 years sentence for that. It's crazy.
So she happened to be on the wrong telephone line. Is that true? She was on a telephone call. And I'm not saying it was perfect, but it wasn't worth 40 or 50 years, Alice. And you've been an inspiration to people. And we're going to be listening to your recommendation on pardons. You're going to go over and she's going to be my pardon czar. Okay. And you're going to find people just like you that should not have happened. It should not have happened. So you're going to look and you're going to make recommendations, and I'll follow those recommendations. Okay. For pardons. All right.
Man, that was cold, man. That was cold right there, man. The game made a position for her, the sister, man. Made a position for the sister, man. That was beautiful, man. But yeah, in her own words, in her own words, I want to let y'all hear from the partisan herself, and then we're going to get up out of here, man. While they over there tripping, while they over there, doing all that protesting, just thought I'd give y'all something that we can, be happy about, man. I mean, this is beautiful, man. Just see this this woman, get out of a bad jam, and man, she on the job, man. Let's hear from Alice Marie Johnson herself.
Alice Marie Johnson. She was serving a life sentence for non-violent drug trafficking. Then in 2020, President Trump granted her a full pardon. Now he's appointed her to be his pardon czar. Alice Marie Johnson joins me now. Alice, tell us about your role, please. What is your criteria for a pardon?
My criteria, first of all, thank you for having me on, but my criteria, first of all, is that the individuals pose no safety risk to the communities, that they have rehabilitated, their retribution has been satisfied, that they have a good re-entry plan. We're going to help them along the way. This is not about just allowing people to gain their freedom and then not setting them up for freedom. I'm partnering with many HR professionals because we want to make sure that when they come home, they have good jobs waiting on them, that they have strong family and community support, and also a strong faith support.
Okay. Do you anticipate a lot more pardons?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are so many deserving individuals who are in prison, who are serving way too much time and have served way too much time. And I truly believe that as a nation, we're so much better than this. I love President Trump's America First agenda. And that means putting the least, those that you don't see, the prisoners also, where we put in communities. But this is about families too. Families have been broken. Their loved ones have served enough time, and I'm going to be there for them. And one thing that I've seen that
now you see her get in the car being released from prison June 7th, 2018. Man, bro. Shout out to Donald Trump.
President Trump has, and I'm absolutely loving, he is using technology to really make changes in government, to shrink it. And if we can use technology for that, I'm looking forward to using technology to really help in this effort to identify those people who are ready to come home. And when they do, I'm going to make sure that they have everything that they need to succeed.
Okay. I remember when President Trump, first time around, pardoned you in 2020. Yeah. Kim Kardashian had advocated for your release. She was a strong force behind you. Are you working with her at all now?
Well, I'd love to, work with her again. That's going.
So shout out to Kim Kardashian. She heard about this lady's story once again. And man, made it happen, got to the president. And I don't even think she's a Republican, but, that's when Democrats had some type of sense and reached across the aisle to the other party and some of them at least tried to work with the president. Now they want to fight him on their turn. But if you work with the president, you might get something accomplished, like something beautiful like this. So let's try to reach across the aisle. Democrat, Republican. I consider myself independent, in the middle. You know what I'm saying? But in anywho, let's continue.
Going to be left up to her willingness and availability to work with me. She's been doing this work also. I've been on the ground, honestly, from the day that the president gave me my second chance. I have never stopped fighting for others. I've met with governors across the nation. I've worked with geriatric clemencies because some people have aged out of criminality and they pose no risk. Prisons have become a nursing home for them, and that's ridiculous. If we can help the illegal immigrants that crossed our border get housing and shelter, and we put them first, it's time to put America first. And that's President Trump's agenda. And I'm very grateful to be a part of it, to help him find those deserving individuals and give them that chance they need, because we are a country of redemption.
Yes, we are. It's great to have you on the show, Alice.
Man, if that don't warm your heart right there, that big old smile. Yes, the Lord, man. Hey, man, I love it. I love it. I love it, man. So, something to give y'all some positive energy, some good outlook while the world is in turmoil. And in closing, don't let these people, man, that's out here protesting lead you astray. You know what I'm saying? From the truth and what you see. We are like Alice Marie Johnson said, they prioritize these illegal immigrants over American citizens when we saw that. And now we have an opportunity to put America first with a president that actually cares. See, Leadership is key for any nation. Leadership is key for any household to be successful. And if you got the right leadership, everything else will fall in line. Well, that's your boy, you know what I'm saying, Donald Trump, doing some great things in the White House. And it's your man's Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. You already know. We love y'all. You know what I'm saying? Peace and blessings. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon. All right, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your beautiful Sunday. Love.